Should you upgrade from an S24 Ultra to the S25 Ultra? I am, and here are my reasons why. Stay tuned. Welcome everyone, this is Julian with Juleon Tech Reviews. Thank you for all the subscribers that are joining us today, but we're here to talk about the comparison between the S25 Ultra, S24 Ultra. I'm going to upgrade to the S25 Ultra and keep this model and return the S24 Ultra for a $900 trade-in. Should you? Things to consider. But before we get into it, if you can please like and subscribe, as I mentioned before, and we're going to get right into it. So one of the first things we're going to do is go into the details of what you should consider when you're thinking about upgrading from your S24 Ultra to the S25 Ultra. The S24 Ultra is a very capable phone, and it is just as good as it did when it came out. I mean, I'm sure there's some battery degradation, but the updates and the promising One UI 7, which is the latest software update that is on the S25 Ultra, just shows that there are some promising features that you should consider keeping your S24 Ultra for. But before we get into that, we're going to start with some of the specs for each one and see if anything drastically changed from year to year. So the S24 Ultra came out in January 17th, 2024, and the S25 Ultra came out January 22, 2025 this year. So they both come in 7 different colors. Right now I have the titanium green, and then I have the jet black for the S25 Ultra. Now, one of the first things I noticed when it comes to the changes from year to year is that the S25 Ultra is lighter. The S25 Ultra is 218 grams, the S24 Ultra is 232 grams. Now, out the box, I was able to notice the difference right away. And that's very, nice when it comes to just holding the phone. The S24 Ultra feels like a really solid phone. And this one feels like a very light titanium, aluminum, just kind of light phone when you hold it in your hand. So both sport the Corning Gorilla Glass armor. The S25 Ultra has an upgraded armor, which is 2, so it's stronger. And it has an upgraded titanium frame, which is grade 5 versus grade 2. So a 3-grade upgrade. Then we both have IP68 dust and water resistance. The stylus is the big change this year. Obviously, we have Bluetooth on the S24 Ultra. They've taken that capability away from the S25 Ultra. So for those who are very into the stylus, utilizing that for taking pictures from a distance, it's gone with the S25 Ultra. Some consider that a downgrade. I don't really care either way because I don't really use it. So just another thing to consider. Let's talk about this display. So let's go ahead and flip these over. So both displays sport a dynamic LTPO, and both have about 2600 of peak brightness, nits of peak brightness. The S25 Ultra comes in at a little bit longer, at a 6.9 inches versus the 6.8 for the S25 Ultra. The pixel densities are pretty much the same. They both have always on display, so you're going to get little to no changes when it comes to the display. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about the platform. So both platforms are going to be sporting the One UI. Currently, there's no update for any T-Mobile One UI 6 S24 Ultra users, but it will come to the S24 Ultra, along with, I believe it was 7 years of upgrades, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one thing to consider. You will have the latest software, so don't worry about that. And the biggest change is the chip. So the chipset now is a Snapdragon Qualcomm 8 Elite versus the 8 Generation 3. Now, upon my experience using S25 Ultra, I noticed a big difference right away. But for me, I mean, it's just at the naked eye, just upon looking and just experiencing the phone and then going back to the S24 Ultra, you notice the difference. So I just keep that in mind. All right, so the internals are pretty much the same. You got, 256 gigs of RAM, of storage, 12 gigs of RAM, for both models, all the way up to 1 TB. However, one thing new to the S25 Ultra, you get 1 TB. You purchase that one, you can get 16 gigs of RAM, and that is very helpful when you're using a lot of apps at the same time. So just keep that in mind. All right, now let's go ahead and turn these back over and let's talk about these cameras. So we have a quad setup. We have both of them 200 megapixel wide angle camera. We got 10 megapixel telephoto camera, 50 megapixel periscope. But the difference with the ultra wide is that we have a 50 megapixel ultra wide versus a 12 megapixel ultra wide on the S24 Ultra. There's a feature on the S25 Ultra, which is called Best Face. So just another software bump. Both still shoot in 8K at 24 to 30 frames per second in all of the lower tiers of videoing. And then let's turn this back around. So we have on these selfie cameras, they're still in the center and they're still not hidden from plain sight. So you still have that peekaboo camera at 12 megapixels for both. So no big difference there. And it still shoots at 4K at 60 frames per second. Let's see about our sensors. So one of the biggest upgrades that you have this year with the S25 Ultra is that the ultrasonic fingerprint, the under display is much improved. So for example, I have my S24 Ultra. I mean, it's just kind of like a snap, but I mean, you touch the S25 Ultra, well, it's really relatively feels the same. So no big deal there. Both have Samsung DeX, ultra wideband support, circular search. Let's talk about the battery. No change in the battery. So we both got a lithium ion 5000 milliamp battery. Both charge at 45 watts wired, 15 watts wireless. But the Qi 2 wireless is available for your S25 Ultra as opposed to the S24. 4.5 watts of reverse wireless charging, and blah, 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 blah. That's it. So some would look at those specs and say, hey, this is very minimal, minimal changes. But to me, the most significant change that is causing me to pay the extra $400 and to get all of the new stuff to go along with it is, for one, it's a preference. I like to have the latest and greatest. And two, they changed the design. So the design slightly is different. So you have the pointed edges on the S24 Ultra, whereas you have the more rounded edges on the S25 Ultra. They do not have, they have a, I want to say the S25 Ultra is a little bit more wider because it has the more boxier look. So millimeters wise, you're not really getting much of a giant difference there. I mean, as you can see, small changes. The cameras, the rings on the camera on the S25 Ultra have just a little bit more cutout depth, just a little bit fatter, as you can see in the video, versus kind of like a slimmer bezel kind of display for your cameras cutout. And let's see, another significant portion is the weight. So the weight really got me. So when I picked this one up, I mean, it's very light to the touch. I mean, this phone feels like a modern phone. However, the S24 Ultra still holds its, title as one of the best phones of 2024. And, there's no shame in the game on this one. And you are in your rights to keep the S24 Ultra and not, pay an extra $400 for an upgrade. So I'm an upgrade guy, so that's just me. All right, now let's get a little bit more in depth. So I took a few pictures utilizing all the cameras. So I have a display on what pictures look like, and you can let me know in the comments if you think there is a significant change or not. But, here are, just the array of selections of photos and videos that I've taken. All right, and that was the pictures and videos. Let me know what you think. And let's go on to the next session. So one of the things I like to do is game. So the gaming, let me know what you think, if there's any significant changes. So I do have my asphalt here, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like. And I'm sure you've experienced it with your S24 Ultra, but this is what it looks like. And as you can see, it's very immersive. Asphalt is one of the greater apps that you can kind of like test and see the video quality and just gameplay. And, you know, as you can see, everything is very responsive. And I mean, you get an excellent gaming experience when it comes to your S24 Ultra. So let me know what you think. Pretty cool game to test it out. All right, so I'll go ahead and put that down, and let's go to the S25 Ultra. So got the same game pulled up. It does feel pretty much the same. And as you can kind of like go into the prompts and, you know, hit the button, I think the design of the curved edges makes this more of a bleeding edge technology. So, you know, as you can see, I'm getting excellent gameplay. And if you were to use the phone naked as it is right now, you definitely feel, you know, the weight lessen in the S24 Ultra, 25 Ultra. You know, this one is starting to feel like a brick compared to the S24 Ultra. So, you know, as you can see, I can pick it up like this very easily, versus here, it takes a little bit more effort. But, you know, I think Samsung's design is getting better. They're making small little tweaks that make, you know, it worth it to upgrade. So gaming, pretty good. All right, let's talk about displays. Like I said before, I mean, the displays really haven't changed as much. They're using a tougher grade of glass on the S25 Ultra, which is worth it if you don't want it to be dropped and cracked. But the S24 Ultra is still a capable display. I'm able to utilize every app. I mean, no restrictions. You know, I don't know what else to say. It's really small in theory when it comes to the upgrade, but just me personally, I just want to stick with the S25 Ultra. One of the things that you have to consider is the stylus. So the stylus support for Bluetooth is gone with the S25 Ultra. Sucks, but you know, you got to move on, got to get better. But don't know if it's worth keeping the S24 Ultra, other than the fact that you just, you know, want to spend more money or save money. But these phones are great, even in today's time. And plus you get the upgrades with the S24 Ultra, as Samsung announced last year. And it continues with the S25 Ultra. So let's just go ahead and wrap this up. So as I mentioned, all the specs, and I showed you just a few things, the photos, the gaming. The Snapdragon 8 Elite chip is magnificent. I mean, it works great with the OnePlus 13, and there's no difference here. However, if you have the S24 Ultra, there's no shame in the, you know, Snapdragon Generation 3 chip here. It still is a capable. It works almost just as good. It's not as smooth, and you'll see when you're actually playing with the phones themselves. It's not as smooth as Snapdragon 8 Elite, but I don't know if it's worth upgrading another $400, giving this up for, you know, $900. So if I was giving my opinion for somebody who has the S24 Ultra outside of me, it's not worth the upgrade. That's that. However, since I'm me, I'm going to upgrade the S25 Ultra, not only because of the new design, the lightness of the phone, the slight change to the curved display to make it more of a phone where you can slap a, you know, tempered glass on there and not have to worry about small curvatures, you know, on the side. But that's just me, and the display is great. I mean, you can throw this in the sun and you still can see what you're doing. And I still haven't seen a phone that is as capable as that. But the good news is you get it on the S24 Ultra as well. So in my opinion, you don't have to upgrade to the S24 Ultra unless you want to. But for me in my house, I'm going to upgrade to the S25 Ultra and keep this one until the next S26 Ultra. And that's that. But if you like what you heard, please like, subscribe. Even if you didn't like what you heard, comment below and let me know what your gripes on. And if you're gonna upgrade to the S24 Ultra, from the Ultra, let me know to the S25 Ultra. Otherwise, this is Julian with Juleon Tech Reviews. Peace.